The other India is already innovating. Grassroots innovation driving inclusivity and demand-driven solutions. Uh, I'm very fortunate to have such a wonderful panel. We've got Dr. Vipin Kumar, for the Chief Scientist of National Innovation Foundation, Prerana Langao, CEO of Aga Khan Agency of Habitat, and Osama Manzar, founder and director of Digital Empowerment Foundation. I'm fortunate that we know some of them for over 3 decades, and it's such a pleasure to have all of you here. I think before artificial intelligence, it should actually be technology for all Indians, AI, all included. Uh, how far are we from that? Are we getting there? And how quickly can we get there? Because AI actually is a democratic opportunity which is at an unprecedented scale. And it can have a massive impact. So AI can become one of the greatest democratization opportunity and help out in grassroots innovation. But what exactly is grassroots innovation? As we were introduced, we know the word innovation, we know the word grassroots, but how do the two of them come together? And what does it mean in the Indian context? We've seen waves of technology. We've seen the internet, the social media. We've seen, the ability for networks to grow and AI now. And all of them have somehow converged into a device which we all carry in our pocket, which is a phenomenal opportunity. And this opportunity extends to every part of the country. How does that now also help out the nation and the public at large in terms of innovative solutions? And typically, when we talk about innovation, we talk about innovations going top down. Somebody makes an innovative plan and takes it to the villages. But in reality, it's quite different. There's also tremendous amount of innovation which is happening on the ground, and that innovation needs to be brought out to the forefront, brought out to the others, and a lateral south-south kind of an exchange program. And I think that's going to be a baseline in terms of what we're going to talk about. So my point is that we need to take technology to villages, but we also need the technology from the villages. We need to have a platform and an ability to bring that out to us. So with that, I would like to open the floor with a question to Dr. Vipin. We hear innovation and imagine something. We hear about grassroots and imagine something else. How does NIF mission, which is to help India become creative, knowledge-based society, actually do it, and how far have we reached there?
Thank you very much. National Innovation Foundation, which is set up to help the grassroots innovations, the people who are in the hinterland basically do not understand that they are doing the innovation, but they are trying to address their own problem or their societal problem within the limited resources around them. Many times they develop something, in fact, and the reason is they don't want to leave the problem, they want to give the solution. And sometimes if you could give a strong science and technology support to those sort of ideas or those sort of creativity, then good innovations and good technological outcome can be there, which definitely can help not only making inclusive growth, but also contribute to the GDP also. I know that some of the innovators which NIF has supported, in terms of employment generation, 80 of top innovation has generated a sustainable employment for more than 3 lakh people. So that is another aspect which we have to see, because large number of people, the rural youth, they need the employment and they cannot come to the cities. Ultimately, we have to provide the employment in their own areas, and for that, this grassroots innovation can be one area if supported, to generate the employment opportunity for large number of people, because this is a model which is not a typical lab to land model. It is a land to lab to land model. That's why the more success is there.
Yeah. So I have a quick question. Just a quick show of hands. How many people realize that there is the NIF booth right across? Yeah. And how many people have gone and visited it? And did you figure out something very interesting out there? Quick show of hand. Great. So, how do we bring visibility to what NIF is doing? How do we take this to the larger audience? Because if you see a room full of people, you'll see only a few hands. I did see wonderfully a few hands showing up. But how do you bring this to the forefront?
Uh, See, if we say that to how many people we have reached, either you say very proudly, oh, we do have few lakh ideas in our database, and definitely few people lakh people are associated. But you see, on other hand, the country, if we have reached to 1 crore people, it might be a success, but the 139 crore people are still there to whom we have to reach. And alone the institution cannot reach, they need the partners, they need the network. And for that network, we need the support, everybody sitting here, we need the support of organizations, we need the support of, the individuals, who could take our message to the last mile person and could connect their creativity to NIF. And then NIF is committed, to convert their innovative ideas into the product and also take them to the last miles. Uh, it is not always the commercialization. In fact, this forum has talked about the commercialization, but I feel that social dissemination is also equally good. The society need the impact, the society need the technology, for drudgery reduction. Society need the technologies for employment generation, for livelihood enhancement, and so on. And for that, the small ideas, the innovations which to have the local relevance might be more useful. And through NIF, probably large number of technology, innovative technology we may be able to offer. I'm happy to share that some of the ideas which were very, small ideas initially we considered, but when we see the response and when we see the impact on the society, I'm happy to share that 13 of our incubators have received the Padma Shri because of the impact on the society.
Amazing. That's amazing. Prerana Langao, let me talk to you on the work that you're doing. I believe you work at the intersection of environment sustainability, the social equity, focusing on the ecosystem, and restoration in times of flood and heat and wave migration. We're at this fantastic venue of Geo Convention Center with air conditioning and all of that. Step outside and you're hit with a heat wave. How do you address this? How do you bring cities to be more sustainable? How do you address the issues which are being faced at the village level? And how does your work intersect with some of these challenging positions?
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here. And like he said, it's great being indoors where it's cool and it's really hot outside. And it's like that not only in India but across the world. There was, UNFCCC had this Paris Agreement in 2015, which said that we should not let the temperatures go above 1.5 degrees. We are already at 1.4 degrees. And people say, what is a 0.1 degree? We know what's a 0.1 degree when you take your own body temperature. So the world is heating up. And luckily, unluckily, we are in that age where I don't have to talk about climate change because everybody's experiencing it. So what we do is really work on cities and to make cities more livable. I know Osama focuses a lot on villages, and he was like, why do you want more people to go to the cities? But I'm saying 3% of the world's population lives in cities. And any guesses on how much of emissions does this 3% geographically produce? Any guesses? Cities, how much do they contribute in terms of emissions?
You please tell us. Please tell us.
70%.
Oh, wow.
So if you're working on climate and you ignore cities, you're only working on 30% of the problem. And in India, I do agree, rural, we need to focus. But a lot more needs to be done for cities. So what we do is use technology, we use AI. So we use satellite imagery, we use GIS systems and sensors to tell us, like for example, we took the city of Mira Bhainder and we said, what are the hot spots of Mira Bhainder? There is something known as urban heat island effect. That means because we live in urban areas, we are at least 5 to 10 degrees hotter than our immediate rural because of the concrete, asphalt, the roads, the buildings. So in urban areas, even at night, the temperatures are hot because it's trapped. So we worked on heat and we work on the most vulnerable. So for example, in Mira city and in Chandrapur city, which is one of the hottest cities in the world, 46 degrees. Municipal commissioner was telling us that they have 30% absenteeism. And even when I went in the month of August, people have boils because it's like living in a furnace. Where do you escape? So like we work on the Safai Karmacharis houses. So here too, when I talk about grassroots innovation, I'm talking about community first. So while we do all this AI and all of that to map the hottest places, we work with the communities and listen to them and have come out with models. Not only, I think a lot of you would have heard of cool roof paint, which is solar reflective index paint. But we are going beyond that. We are talking about ventilation bands. We are talking about alufoil, which is an underdeck solution, wood wool. So it is about working with the communities because I can't come to your house and say, boss, I'm going to do this to your house. I have to work with you, see what works for you. Yeah. And it's so fulfilling to see, earlier when I used to go to the slums, that it was like people were like literally harassed. There was nobody in the houses during the afternoon time. Now you go one slum after the other, all kinds of enterprises you wouldn't even think about, micro enterprises. So working on things like that, we also work on flood because how do you use AI to bring in predictive models to, prepare communities to combat that? So of course, we work on things like mangroves. Mangroves, in fact, they capture a lot of carbon. So along the coast, if they are a nature-based solution, if you have mangroves, then chances of cyclones are low. So we work on all these areas.
So would this be an educational initiative, data gathering initiative, or would this be beyond that in terms of dissemination as well? How would you package that?
All, because we
That's
actually are the implementers. So if you say we have actually covered, gone into houses and put those solutions.
Right.
We have taken schools, made it cooler, made it more energy efficient. We have taken a housing society because in Mira Bhainder, 40% of the emissions were coming from housing societies
Right.
of 280 units and brought down the electricity bills per month from 52,000 to 18,000.
So it looks like multiple initiatives are being done out here. Would you engage with the startup world and how do you encourage them to get involved in the work that you're doing rather than just an organizational effort?
Right. So in fact, like you rightly said in the beginning, we are the intersection because we work with the government. Without government, you can't get into the cities. And so we work with innovators. It's not that I came out with this solution of what works. We work with people who are experimenting on cooling solutions. So there's a huge opportunity. We work with GIS, ARC, GIS on predictive models. So very much. So anybody in the crowd who's in the audience that's working on solutions for climate, I would love to meet.
Wonderful. Osama, I know you and I know each other for before you started Digital Empowerment Foundation, and you've come through a very long journey working in grassroots, working in villages, working at both the intersects of the urban and village space. And just informally, when we were talking, I think you kind of shared saying that why do we want to make cities better? Because there'll be more of an urban migration. And that was something of a challenging position, and I would love you to talk on that and the work that you're doing.
Yeah, I was wondering for the last couple of days, kya baat karenge, exactly what we will talk when we talk about grassroots innovation. And I just got a little bit of the audacity of the urban people to ask this question to the rural people, grassroots innovation itself is bad. It's showing that as if that the innovation can only take place by the graduates or by the scientists or by these people. Actually, the real innovation is at grassroots level, actually. And I would say the grassroots level people, the lifelong struggle for them is to be heard. एंड उनकी पूरी जिंदगी इसी में निकल जाती है. उनका इनोवेशन यही है कि आपने वाईफाई बनाया, मैं कैसे यूज कर लूं. आपने बोला कि खाना ऑर्गेनिक खाना है, हम तो खा रहे थे पिछले 100 साल से, organic, natural way, and now you're saying that in innovation when you say कि organic food खाना है, you make a building best architected in which we will either freeze or roast without AC or something, but we were making natural houses as an architect in our villages, and then you are saying अब ऐसा आपकी तरह बेवकूफ़ी वाला घर हम बना लेंगे तो आप बोलेंगे इनोवेशन मैंने सीख लिया. So, it's everything in. So actually the real innovator is the producer. And that person is always poor. The person who makes food, the person who makes my cloth, the person who, makes anything, carpenter, mason, anybody you say, they are the scientists. The kind of weave that they can do my cloth, we can only do as a designer and apparel. I can't even design the basic structure of the cloth without putting a graph paper or something, But they make it just like that. No, so the real scientists are them, the real innovators are them, and we then question to them, grassroots innovation is great. I mean, they are struggling कि मेरे को सुन लो यार, कल बारिश होने वाली है. Your weather report will not tell.
Correct.
I am telling you tomorrow will be rain. I am telling you because of your innovation of having a fertilizer has destroyed my land, which you will only learn after 20 years. And then you will tell that the cost of organic food is higher than the, fertilized food, which we were making. So I am saying that, we need to really reverse our question in such a way is that what kind of educated people put innovation in their mind to recognize the real scientists, real innovators, and then appropriate that for better living. Rather than making them all to commit mistakes in the next, 100 years. It's something like, एक doctor जो nabs देखता है is a bigger scientist than your stethoscope or for that matter your BP machine. Because that person is actually learning and telling everything कि इसके लिए क्या करना चाहिए if your heartbeat is 80 or less than 60 or whatever, right? But for new innovation will ask you to consult 5 doctors, 10 machines and 20 something and all that. But because we are the real scientists, humans are the real scientists, the nature is the real scientist. And our innovation is only to understand, we are doing all reverse innovation actually in our life to learn exactly what it is, and so I'm actually not discussing the topic, but I'm discussing the topic. I mean, the audacity of our question of the topic,
So
and that is the reason when Vipin was talking about and the rural innovation that they collect, you see most of them are actually innovating what should have been the natural practice, right? That has been a natural practice. Something like mitti cool, the fridge without a machine, or for that matter, not to use air conditioning and you still have, 25 degree or something. Those were already there. So our innovation effort has to go to de-escalate ourselves.
True. Since you're already holding the mic, but I'm going to go through each one of you, saying that, is it true to say that innovation already existed and we've now labeled it? And is that what the ground reality is? And secondly, a lot of people confuse or maybe misappropriate the word innovation with Jugaad. What would be your views, each one of you, on this? Maybe we start with you, Osama.
Okay, so actually you have replied the question. The question itself has an answer. The real innovation is now considered as Jugaad. Actually, because, I'll give you a very, relevant example. You made a tower to put an Wi-Fi so that I get the best Wi-Fi. But in rural India, my innovation is Jugaad because I don't have money to put that tower to get the Wi-Fi in my house. Then I take a most straight bamboo and put them, and then put my own tower or a receiver of some wire or some Jugaad receiver, so that I can get the Wi-Fi properly in my house. This is a real cases where because we go to villages and there is no Wi-Fi and we do this. But we are considered Jugaad, we are not considered innovation.
Absolutely.
Because you made us to use the machine that actually should not have been, and then now we are reversing them to use the same machine.
And very interestingly, what you were saying has actually been done at IIT Mumbai. I've gone and seen this, where they said that in certain areas, if you put a scaffolding or you put a steel-based tower, it has challenges with weather conditions, but the bamboo has a little bit of a flexibility. At the same time, the signal varies a little bit, and they've had innovation around that, but used bamboo. And then they said, instead of shipping steel everywhere to set up towers, we just have the local bamboo built up, and only the tower antennas need to be sent to install. So that is a innovation going in a bi-directional flow. There is an innovation flowing to the villages, but there's also an innovation coming back from there, which can be spread and used all across.
I'll give you one half-minute example in more modern language. There is a spectrum called 2.4 gigahertz and 8.5 gigahertz, right? They both are free spectrums, unlicensed spectrum. If we use that in the villages to connect people, right? It's free, you don't have to pay, and you can literally create a last mile Wi-Fi with that one. And it is you know, so if you are an Airtel tower there and I am 5 kilometers away, I use your tower from there to bring that same you know, wave
Signal
here,
wave,
and then we spread this with 2.4 and 8.5 gigahertz.
Super.
And that has helped us to connect many villages.
So sort of a relay.
But that is only considered Jugaad. That should have been a real, that we already have a spectrum. Please use it. Go ahead and use it. Create your own mesh network and Wi-Fi network.
Great. I'm going to jump to you, since you structure some of these innovations in this format. What would you respond to Osama's ideas of saying that there's Jugaad happening on the ground and we need to formalize it and maybe create a platform for spreading it, and then I'll come back to you.
Yeah, I do have bit contradictory, you know, the view.
That's always welcome.
Jugaad can be a trigger point for innovation, but definitely the word Jugaad is not really appreciable. It is a Western, you know, is more
Construct.
celebrating this, you know, word. And I would say that Jugaad is a corrupt way to look at the innovation, because the innovation always has the sustainability aspect. Without sustainability, you know, innovation cannot be innovation. So whether it is coming from the grassroots or whether it is coming from the high-end institution, initial idea, we can call it a Jugaad. But when we were moving toward the innovation, the Jugaad should be behind, in fact. I'll give one example. With Professor Anil Gupta, my guru, few years back, we were doing the analysis of some of the crops, like psyllium, isabgol, everybody knows. How many patents are filed on psyllium in USPTO? Okay. And why psyllium? Because it is 97% psyllium is grown in India only. We found that approximately 15,000 patents, and where the Indian contribution was just 18. Because our youngsters are not finding it fascinating what our traditional knowledge is there, what our villages are saying. They say, oh, it's our traditional knowledge, you know, where is the science in that? But those people are finding that, oh, might be some cutting edge technology for tomorrow can be here. After that, we have gone deeper that who are those people who filed the patent? Maximum patents were filed by Procter and Gamble and followed by Colgate-Palmolive. After that, Osama ji, I went to the Unja Mandi. You know, the only mandi of, you know, Isabgol. I found that rates of that crop is not decided by the government, neither the state government nor the union government, but the clients of Procter and Gamble and Colgate-Palmolive. So we are living what is there in our hinterland. We are living what our, you know, forefathers are doing, and we are living what is our survival ways, you know, at real location. We are trying to catch what is there in Western world. It might not be suitable for us, but what it is suitable for us, I think there is a there should be a focus, on that. And definitely, I'm not saying that any technology without scientifically, validation or proving scientifically, you accept it or you take it. That some science should be there, for validation. Some science should be there for, IP protection and, value addition and product
Excellent.
development.
In a quick response, keeping in mind the time at
Yes.
hand.
So I feel that the problem with the word innovation is we associate the word with innovation means new. It's not about new. Combining both what they are saying, it is about solving a problem, making somebody's life better, and doing it at a low cost. Because you can't have an innovation at a high cost, which means that you're serving only a limited number of people. Even the work that we are doing in cooling solutions, it's costing around 30,000 per household. We are thinking, array boss, we have not arrived because who's going to spend so much money?
Absolutely.
It only becomes an innovation when it's cost effective, sustainable, and solves a problem.
Osama, one quick innovation that you know, for all of three of you have wide experience. An innovation that touched your heart. Maybe you want to share it with everybody. Anyone, if you could take this first.
It was a slightly 2-decade-old thing. It was less an innovation, more an innovation of the way it is used. Is that Raghav Mehto in Vaishali district in Bihar, he created a spectrum for 100 rupees using the cordless mic technology. So he thought that if it is cordless, the voice is going, that means I can make it go not only this room, but 10-15 kilometers. And then he has started a community radio and on FM and ran it for several years till the government realized that it was being run without license and it was closed. But he still works with us. That was one. But I also wanted to correct my previous line. The spectrum that I was talking about, 2.4 gigahertz and 5.8 gigahertz, not
5.8 is the
8.
free spectrum.
Yeah,
Correct.
I
That's
just
right.
wanted to correct that.
Absolutely. Prerana, you have any example?
I've always fascinated when I'm flying as to how come I'm in the air like this in an aeroplane. Where are the maps? How are they following it? Who made it possible? So I don't know. I think that's quite fascinating. 100 times better than sliced bread.
Right. And Vipin?
See, my favorite example is innovation done by Malisham. What he did, in fact, his first step was observing a problem. In Pochampalli sari making, there is a process Ashu where hand goes multi-thousand time against the gravity, and he observed the pain actually. That was the first step, and he tried to do something. A machine he tried to develop, and I have supported, has eradicated the 100% drudgery, in Pochampalli sari making. And what impact on the society? 15 years back, the cost of sari today you can get in 1/3 cost of that actually. It enhanced the efficiency of the people, reduced the drudgery, given more wages, and also passed the benefit to the clients. And that's why at the age of 47, this Malesham, a poor person who was a school dropout, become the Padma Shri actually.
Oh, fantastic. What a journey. Wonderful. So I think it's amply clear listening to all the panelists that innovation has been there with people in India, will be there, and will continue to grow from here, whether it's AI or any other form of digital technology. So we don't have a tech problem. What we have is an issue of awareness, education, support, and an infrastructure building which gives them a platform for bringing this innovation. And as you also pointed out, some of these innovations have been patented. Some of these innovations have been locked in. Some of these innovations have been adopted by somebody, marginally changed, and given their own label. So if we have multitude of platforms where an opportunity is given for people to bring these innovations to the front, then, as Osama says, his reach in the inroads into village is phenomenal. Your work with trying to bring sustainability is very, very interesting and needs to be taken far and wide. And the work that NIF has done, Vipinji, I think that can really give a phenomenal impetus and boost. And this nation where we are organizing such a, imagining the next, should also be imagining how innovation can be brought and taken to the next level. You have a closing comment? We just run out of time, but please
one
do.
half line, because you said
Sure.
that that should be the culture. We are trying to practice in all our 2,500 centers. Can we create a maker space kind of culture in each spaces so that children can make and learn, do
Fantastic.
and learn rather than just
Fantastic.
read or something. That will
Fantastic.
create a culture of innovation.
Great.
That is very, very important.
Excellent. Thank you, Sama. Time's up, but do you have a minute for questions, Q&As? Anybody can bring it in? Is there anything, any quick burning question, or we do a wrap up on this?
Wrap up.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. There is a question. Quick mic. We just take one question.
I hope I'm audible.
Yeah.
So I'm Satyoki. I am an in-house counsel, and I seek two responses from Dr. Vipin Kumar sir and Osama sir. Of course, the question is directed around what NIF is doing. So, and I built this question as a hangover from the last session where we had Sridhar Vembu sir and Arnab Goswami sir. The question is this, that in the context of community knowledge, which is, of course, couched in the language of traditional knowledge, frugal innovations, which are couched as Jugaad, etc., and technical inventions, which are couched in the language of IP or patents, where do you think you can draw the right line in the context of AI? Which means that do we envisage a framework where AI can become a framework for ethical governance of knowledge that we seek or we take from community knowledge and probably translate it into something that can be translated into some form of IP later? Or is there probably some sort of a framework that can help us decide which falls where? Where is it that we draw the right line around community knowledge? Where is it that we draw the right line around frugal innovations or Jugaad, as we call it? Or is there probably a boundary where we demarcate frugal innovations versus
I think that's a great
technical
question.
IP?
Does anybody want to handle this? Do you want to take this question? But where do you draw the line? Where do you cross over? Where do you draw the line in terms of what is being churned out by AI, and how do you bring that out in terms of innovation?
Okay. See, AI is I feel it over celebrated, at this moment, because it is not that AI is perfect. AI is also committing the mistake. AI can be slave, AI can be our master. So we have to be ahead of AI actually. AI is nothing except the algorithm, in fact, what we have, designed or developed. Definitely our knowledge can be harnessed by that, can be utilized by that. There is no harm in that. If it is a traditional knowledge, it is everybody's knowledge. There is no IP in that. But definitely where the IP is there, we have to be ahead of time, in fact, to protect that.
Great.
Quick
last comment, Osama, or do we do a wrap up? You want to say?
No, I would say that the real good innovation is in calculating its usage in a 360-degree way. It's not really the innovation of technology or innovation real, but its implication and its usage. So it's more in design and in terms of governance and usage than which we actually say now you are doing Jugaad to manage the innovation. That's how it is seen.
Correct.
So it should not be like that. So
Thank you. I think that's an excellent point. And I think what's appropriate for India is also the book written by Dr. Mashelkar and my dear friends Dr. Mashelkar and Sushil Bode, which talked about more from less for more. I think that's very appropriate, where we take these innovations, package them in the right way, give it a platform. And I think when we meet, hopefully next year, we'll be having lots of other stories to share with everyone. So thank you very much, all of you.